What's going on, everybody? Today we are going to be making, you guessed it, bouncy balls. So not only do they bounce kind of if you spawn them in the air and drop them, but you can pick them up and throw them. And as you can see, they are networked. So let me change over to this client and position it a little better. So there is a little bit of network lag, which is why we see it kind of acting a little bit weird on our second client. This should resolve itself if you have really good internet on the real VRChat multiplayer, not in the build and test. And if it doesn't, I might be able to fix it with a different kind of syncing method. But overall, to be able to build this, we actually do not need any custom scripts, which means I'll pretty much show you how to build this completely. And if you don't want to build it yourself and you just want access to it, it will of course still be on my Patreon, probably under one of the cheaper tiers. Now before we get into that, I will say that this is kind of the starting point for a couple things I wanted to build. This was a requirement object. So normally I build things a little bit more complicated than just this bouncy ball, but oddly enough, you do not see many. I don't think I've ever seen a bouncing ball in a VRChat world, and I'm not sure why. I feel like people would have fun with these because you could throw them at other people, bounce them off each other, bounce them around a room. And if we just let them bounce, you can tell it's not like it bounces forever, although we could make that happen. It does eventually come to a resting point like so. So I think that's it for the demo of them, except for let's throw one at another one and see what happens. So you can see they bounce off each other and all that good stuff. Oh, that one went over it, but alright, so now we can get into how to make these, and once again, I painted these all in Substance Painter, so if you want mine, you're more than welcome to check them out on my Patreon. They'll be under one of the cheaper tiers for sure. I try to add stuff to every tier, so everybody gets something no matter what. And I have updated my world a bit here. You can see if you are a patron, you're getting added to the world board at any point. It's not just current. If you've ever been a Patreon member, you are now on the board. And also, our Discord is now open to everybody, even free users, so feel free to join. There's a link also in the description of the video, but it's also in the world in case you happen to come visit. And this is a public community labs world, so you can come check out everything before ever subscribing and see how it works for you here. Make sure you do that if you're interested in my assets. Alright, enough of all that. Let's get back to the bouncy balls. You can see this one's going to be a dodgeball, so we're going to do something custom with this one, but not in this video. Alright, so here we have our balls, and basically all these are simple sphere objects with a material on them, and then what makes them special is we threw on a couple pre-made components. So we'll just make another one from scratch. All you have to do is create a 3D object, a sphere. Let's just line this up with our other ones. Probably not perfect, but good enough. Okay, so we have this different type of material that's not a texture material. It's called a physics material or physical material, and that's what controls the physical properties of an object within a game engine, regardless of the game engine. So how you actually set them up might be a little different, but it's pretty straightforward and easy. So I'm just going to make a new folder called physical materials. I'm going to put the one I already made in there just to make it easier to find in the future. But we'll be making a new one. So you go to create, and we go down here to physics material. I'm just going to call this bounce to physical material. Alright, in our new bounce to physical material, you'll see some options here. So we're going to turn the bounciness to 1 for the moment, and turn our bounce combined to maximum. Now we need to add the physical material to our sphere collider. Cool. So if we go ahead and hit play to see how this works, you'll see it actually doesn't work. Yeah. So the next thing we need to go to is actually on our sphere here, and we need to give it a rigid body. Now it has gravity, and you can see it is bouncing. Now, because we set our bounciness to 1, that means it will never degrade. So it'll bounce at the same height forever. It'll just keep bouncing. And maybe that's what you want, maybe it's not. So how we actually change that is 1 is the maximum, is we essentially change the level. So now it's at 0.2, and you can see it stops bouncing very quickly. So let's set it to 0.5. So it'll bounce half as much each time. Except for we can't quite pick it up or anything yet because we haven't added, this is an awkward placement to do that. We haven't added our VRC pickup. And now we can pick it up. So now we can drop it, and you can see it'll bounce, but it'll quickly come to a standstill. So you can adjust the bounciness level for how bouncy you want your object to be. So the third and final thing we need to do to make this work like my other ones is we need to go to our sphere object, and we need to add a VRC object sync. This will help sync the object across the network for multiple users. So in essence, it makes it multiplayer friendly, and when it moves on one player's screen, it'll move on all players' screen. Now you may or may not want this as well, so that's why we're going through step by step here. Now if we went into here and actually tried to throw it, you'll see you can't actually throw it. Well, that's just part of the editor play mode. If we actually go into the build and test, it'll work just fine. I can demonstrate this because we saw in the beginning of the video I was throwing these around, but in the play mode you actually can't throw these. So the only final thing you would want to do with your ball maybe is give it a texture material to make it stand out and pop in your world. Now I painted mine in Substance Painter, but you can make your material or use the material you already have however you want. And that's pretty much how you make just a simple bouncing object, in this case a sphere for a ball, but you could do this with any object of any shape. And I plan on customizing a couple of these for some other things I plan on making. But for this video, we're keeping it just at how to make a bouncy ball. And there we go. So we're going to do one more test, which is we're going to go into the actual, we're going to add everything back in because we did it in play mode. When you make changes in play mode, it doesn't stick. So we're gonna just go through and add these one more time, which is VRC object sync, our rigid body, and the pickup. Now we can go into our build and test mode. Let's do it with one client for the moment. Now that we are in our build and test mode, you should be able to throw it. And there we go. Now we do have our bounciness level set at 0.5, so it does lose bounciness relatively quickly. But it works just like our other balls. Well, that's pretty much how it works and everything about it. Make sure to drop me a like or comment if you found this video useful, or if you have a question or something like that. And this will be on my Patreon, like I said, under one of the cheaper tiers, so be sure to check that out if you want these materials, or if you just don't want to go through the setup process yourself and just want the object. And that's it. Hopefully this gave you a solid start. Whether you're building your first VRChat world or just looking to add more polish to the one you've already got, these little systems can go a long way toward making your world feel interactive and alive. If you want to try this asset out before dropping it into your own project, I've got a public demo world set up. You can jump in, push buttons, test things out, and see exactly how it works in action. I always try to keep the demo world updated with the latest version, so it's a great place to explore and get ideas. And if this video helped you, or if you're using any of my tools in your world, consider supporting me on Patreon. It helps me carve out more time to make these assets, keep them updated, and put together more tutorials like this one. Even a small pledge goes a long way and means a lot. There's a link to both the demo world and the Patreon in the description below, so feel free to check them out. Thanks again for watching, and as always, see you in the next one.